What would Jesus do? It's a helpful question. Calling Jesus to mind, taking that example to heart can make us more humble, more gracious, and more loving. But it's a less helpful cliche when I run up against the fact that I'm not Jesus. Jesus would submit to torture. I can barely stand to be inconvenienced. Green means go. Jesus would pray, even for his enemies. I hold grudges. Jesus would heal with a touch and raise the dead. I can't do that. So there are times when it's a less encouraging invitation we hope for and more yet another impossible standard without direction. We feel lost. So without lowering the bar for ourselves, but perhaps building a ladder, maybe we want to ask, what would Zacchaeus do? What would the Zacchaeus in us do? Zacchaeus goes out to meet Jesus, and in his exuberance to see Jesus, he leaves his past behind. So close your eyes. Or if you're like me and suspicious of closing your eyes in a room full of people, just in your head. Imagine a time in your life when you were happy, when you were excited, eager, when you knew real joy and real peace. What would that person do? I trust when you open your eyes, you'll be able to see the world just a little differently. So open your eyes. What are you ready to do? Conversion and repentance are real. A cynic has every reason to distrust this chief tax collector's sudden conversion in Jericho. But Jesus believes in it. So it's possible for us as well. Kelly spoke last week about the tax collection enterprise in the Roman Empire of the first century. Tax collection was a private enterprise. Tax collectors were publicans, government contractors, who bid on the right to collect certain taxes in certain places. You could bid on the right to collect custom duties in a port. You could bid on the right to collect rents and land fees and the like. Matthew, one of the apostles, was reportedly such a publican. And Zacchaeus is not only one of these publicans, he's a chief publican. He runs tax collection in the area. The problem with these tax collectors, as it's often found, is that they're notoriously corrupt and have earned the ire rightfully of the people. They tax, and then they can keep whatever they collect over. After all, they have to charge for their services, so they can pass that fee on to their the people. So they're collecting taxes and then as much extra as they can get away with. So they're traitors, collaborators with the Roman oppressor. And now with a ready supply of cash or goods, they can then loan that out until such time as they have to pay the Roman treasury. So now you've got a loan shark business. Now this requires a little bit of security because not only do you have to shake people down for this, you also have to protect that store of goods and cash. So they have private security forces of their own, bodyguards. They're mobsters. They've become their own little fiefdoms, their own little empires. And they've rightfully earned the ire of people around them because not only are they traitors, they compound that oppression with their loan shark business and these private security forces roaming about. But for some reason, one of these chief tax collectors by the name of Zacchaeus wants to see Jesus. Maybe he's just curious, or maybe he's always wanted to leave this life behind, and Jesus is now his excuse. And he goes out to see Jesus. and is so exuberant because he's short, he has to climb a tree. And that means Zacchaeus has left his bodyguards behind. He's not asking one of them to boost him up so he can see Jesus. Jesus is gone from them. His exuberance has overwhelmed his usual practice. And he vows to Jesus, if I've defrauded anyone, and you can hear everybody, if I've defrauded anyone, I'll repay them back 4 times. And there's every reason to distrust this sudden conversion. But here's Zacchaeus, short of stature, standing in a crowd without his bodyguards, ready to be different. And Jesus tells him salvation has come. When we are confronted, when we seek out that for which we are grateful, that for which we are thankful, it moves us to generosity. From gratitude to generosity, the theme of our pledge campaign. When we recall those moments when truth and goodness and beauty and joy and peace and justice touched our lives, it is there that we find God and find the strength to break with our pasts and our presents to become the people we were meant to be. Remember that Jesus sought out Zacchaeus just as much, if not more, than Zacchaeus sought Jesus. Jesus was going to Jericho and passing through it. He invited himself over to Zacchaeus' house. There is something in all of us that would make us climb trees. You are what makes God go to Jericho. So go climb trees. God's waiting for you there. The prophet Isaiah tells us, cease to do evil, learn to do good, seek justice, rescue the oppressed, defend the orphan, plead for the widow. I'm not very good at those things. There are times when what would Jesus do is less an encouraging invitation and more yet another impossible standard without any direction. We feel lost. But Jesus came to seek out and save the lost. Cease to do evil, learn to do good. I can't do that. Yes, you can. Close your eyes and recall a time when you were happy, when you were excited, when you knew joy, when you knew peace. When I close my eyes, I can feel all of the people who believed in me. Now, I can't stand inconvenience, but surrounded by teachers and parents and loved ones who believed in me when I didn't, I might yet find the discipline to take the next step. When I close my eyes, I hold my newborn sons. And I don't always have the grace to pray for my enemies. But with the little one, I can be less judgmental. I could let some stuff slide. I can be forgiving. And when I close my eyes, I can see Allison appearing at our wedding. Now, I can't heal by touch, but I might be able to hold someone's hand through the worst. So close your eyes. Talk to the Zacchaeus in you. Imagine a time in your life when you were happy, when you were excited, when you knew joy and you knew peace. Now open your eyes. What are you ready to do?